God designed us for His presence. God designed you and me for His presence. You say, but Mark, where do I find God's presence? I believe you find God's presence when you are willing to engage with God. And there's many ways to engage with God. Sometimes I engage with God in silence. I often engage with God through the Scriptures. And now while I read the Scriptures, I'm like, Lord, I want your presence. Minister to me. Now sometimes there might be goosebumps, but it's not about goosebumps. It's about reality. It's about faith. But presence is real. And so I experience God's presence in word, in prayer. I experience God's presence in worship. I experience God's presence amongst His people because God inhabits the praises of His people. I experience God's presence. The Bible is full of people that walked in God's presence. Adam walked with God in the cool of the day. That's how the world started. Enoch walked with God. Moses walked with God, friends. Moses walked with God. He knew God. He prioritized God's presence. And then they had this Ark of the Covenant. Remember the story about the Ark of the Covenant? The Ark of the Covenant was the place that signified, it was an Old Testament sign, a symbol, a shadow pointing to a New Testament reality. Chris, this is so powerful that the Ark of the Covenant was actually a picture of God's presence for the people of God. What the people of God knew is that was where the Shekinah glory of God shone. Whenever they were losing a battle, you know what the Israelites would do? When they lost a battle, they'd go and get the presence of God. The presence of God was part of their lives, friends. But if I was your enemy, I would separate you from the presence of God. I would take away an awareness of God's presence in your life. I would want to distract you from God's presence. I would want to keep you disconnected from the source of life, from the peace that passes all understanding, because I know that outside of the presence of God, you rely on yourself. I mean, Jesus Himself was called Emmanuel, God with us. And He had a lifestyle of walking with the Father. He said, I only do what I see the Father do. I only say what I hear the Father saying. He walked with God.